We can now bring in Clemence Witt, a lawyer representing 12 victims' families. Thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. Can you share with us what the experience was like for you during this trial?
Well, this trial was an extraordinary one. More than 3,000 victims were represented during this trial, 400 of them being heard by courts. A special courtroom was built, and it was almost 150 days of hearing. So we have all this context, absolutely extraordinary, and I think the main challenge of this trial is to show to the world that in the end, justice has won, and to apply our rule of law, to apply our ordinary standards of law in France.
I want to ask you about the families you represented, because they're foreign families. Some were Spanish, some were from Chile. What was their experience like? Did they physically have to come here to the courtroom? How did it work?
Some of them came here. Some of them were following from abroad. It's complicated for foreign victims because the fact that they don't speak French, they don't know our legal system is an additional difficulty. And our role as lawyers representing victims was to do our best in order to make their participation to the trial effective. It's very practical and technical issues. For example, we were ensuring with our team that everyday translators would be there.
I was going to ask you about that, because I assume they would be coming in speaking Spanish because they're from either Chile or Spain. And then was it live translation so the judges could hear? How did it work?
It was a live translation. The problem is that on the very beginning of the trial, there was no translation for foreigners. So we built like a team of lawyers representing foreigners, and we've asked the court to provide the service. And in the end, it was day-to-day translation. There was also an audio transcript of the trial called web radio.
Okay.
And there was a big problem regarding that because it was not working abroad. So we had to fight during like 8 months with the Minister of Justice in order to make this web radio accessible abroad for those who couldn't come. And in the end, it's accessible like for a few days in some countries.
I wanted to ask you about the victims' families themselves, because do they feel that they were able to say what they had to say?
Yeah, it's the main success, I think, of this trial. The fact that the court has heard 400 victims, all the victims that wanted to be heard were heard by courts. And during almost 2 months, they have been able to express to the court in front of the accused their suffering, their fear, their trauma. And it was, of course, a very sad and a very intense moment. But at the same time, there were some bridges among the civil parties and sometimes also with the defense. And we've seen with these 2 months hearing of victims that a community of victims, I think, has been built and bridges between them. And I think it was a huge success.
Can I ask where the victims of the families you were representing, where did they lose their lives?
In Bataclan.
In the Bataclan concert hall. Now, during this 10-month trial, in recent weeks, actually, we have seen the defense obviously try to portray their clients as, reformed individuals. What was your assessment of what they tried to do?
I strongly believe that when we are, as lawyers, even if you're a defense lawyer or victims lawyer, depending on the trial, our main role is to guarantee that a fair trial is going on. So I think the defense has all its role to play during this trial. And as lawyer representing the victims, we have a pedagogical role, I think, in order to explain to our clients that the trial won't bring all the answers, won't give all the solutions, and that it's also important, because we are a state of law, that the right of defense will be respected and that the accused may remain silent. And I think it's a common point between lawyers, defense and victims lawyers.
Hopefully, I don't even think a chapter will close, but it'll be a turning point nonetheless in this tragedy which we all experienced in November 2015. Clemence Witt, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us on the program today.